Okay, we can start. Good morning, everyone. I would like to tell you some words about our quality plan, milestone 2 and 3. So for SKB content company, so what was done, we created an acceptance plan and technical performance monitoring. So that means we created a quality control plan for some deliverables. For example, we're going to have mobile application with its own testing suite, backend server, inspection and analysis. All of that is described in our document. What we want to improve in our document from the actual evaluation is actually provide metrics, number of tests, identify who will do the testing. It's the important thing for us because we didn't define it previously, because some of the testing will be done by SKB content company, some of that will be done by us. And we need to identify the amount of resources needed and in possession, because we have a lot of tests to do. So for the first thing, we identify a list of features and we mark the features that are very important for our project as we discussed with the customer. So customer provided us with an insight that he wants those 3 features to be tested, explicitly tested. For the high priority quality attributes, we identified 6 of them. So 3 for mobile application, 3 for backend server. How we identified it, we just evaluated them from the previous delivery of quality plan. So we saw this ISO 25010 tables that we did. We identified where it's the most information we got, and we defined it. So mobile application is mostly maintainability, usability, and security. For the backend server, it's mostly about performance and usability and reliability in some way. So for the acceptance plan for mobile application, most of the tests required are UI and unit testing. So all of the user stories that we provided were supported by the acceptance plans. High priority quality attributes, we identified them and provided this table as I mentioned earlier. And so for the example, for the first thing, we got our user story, authentication by phone. So verification method is going to be just testing. For this, we're going to use UI testing and unit testing. The environment that we're going to provide is development environment. So we identified the development environment is something that is going to be in the development branch of a Git repository. So we got the project out there, and it's going to be done while we are developing on delivering this feature to the customer. So for the tool series, basically Appium and Espresso, it's a UI testing suite, and XA test and JUnit test, it's unit testing for Swift and Java. So training is required for some of them. We just need to have some knowledge in them, and how it will be tracked and delivered. So it is going to be delivered before the push test to the repository, to the development branch, and UI testing is performed at the end of each sprint. So we're going to be showing the customer how it works, and it works great sometimes. Same goes for the SIS list of incoming demands. It's one of the most important features that we're going to have. So you can see we have a lot of things about how we're going to track it. We got a lot more tools like QuickTime for the demonstration, test flight, Fastlane to demonstrate the customer how it actually works. Fastlane is actually a CI that we're going to provide for our mobile application. For the quality attribute, we have something like usability. It's going to be mostly about demonstration and analysis. So basically, we need something like smartphone data analysis tools to provide metrics. So how do we identify usability? We basically provide some beta testing to the people. So they will define, is it usable or not? And it's for the customer to decide, not for us. Same goes for maintainability. So for maintainability, we need something like code review, static analysis, and CI to provide in our project. That's going to be in the future. For this, we're going to use Fastlane, SonarQube, and GitLab that we're going to discuss later. So the same goes for acceptance plan for the backend server. The only difference is that continuous integration is already set up on the SKB content server. Most of the requirements we identified. So we have something like provide the expire time property for each demand. So those are defined. Most tests in backend server is about functional testing, demonstration, and soak testing, because we need to actually provide the performance. So this goes for provide authorization endpoints, and it goes for mobile applications, mostly unit testing and unit to use. For the performance, we have actually defined that it's going to be time behavior and unit performance, load testing, soak testing to actually define how the performance will be affected for the backend server. And the same goes for usability. It's mostly about testing it manually with Postman or Swagger. And the training is not required because it's just manually provides the input. For the quality control plan, we identified most of the testings that we want to provide for our mobile application backend server. And we identified that in our project we're going to have inspection and analysis. For inspection, it's going to be just a code review provided by SKB company, and analysis just a static analysis tools that we're going to use. So for the test plan, we identified those subcategories. So it's entry criteria, process, exit criteria, and etc. That were provided by the document. And we added one more, so it's tracking. So how do we want to track those things in our project? Firstly, for mobile application, it's mostly going to be about UI testing. We provided how those UI testings are going to be done. So the criteria will be those screens supposed to be working identical to the mockups that were provided by the company. And interactions with them will show some of the functionalities that we have. So basically, we have a user story, for example. And this user story is contained in some of the functionality and screen itself on the mobile application. So we need to provide some UI testing for the screen and some of the functionality. So that means we have a number of screens and some different scenarios. So it's mostly about 26 tests on one application. So the secondary application is going to be Android, so it's 26 plus 26. Responsibilities is basically developers who will be providing this functionality. It's us, mobile developers. For the mobile application, we have a dilemma. So we didn't actually know how to provide testing for them. So we identified our architecture, and from the architecture, we evaluated what to actually test. I mean, the unit testings. So basically, it's interactor. Interactor got its own logic inside. This logic is similar to the user stories that we provided. So that's what we actually need to test. So for the unit testing, we provided how we're going to test those interactors. It's going to be mostly about 70 or 80 tests for each. If you want to get some coverage about 70% or 80% as promoted by the customer. For the integration testing, it's not so important, but we still have idea to provide integration testing at the end of our delivery. For the system testing, it's going to be done mostly by the SKB company because it's mostly testing the application on different devices like and different OS versions. For the backend server, it's mostly unit testing, functional testing, like to provide every functionality we have and test it. The most important one is a load performance test. It's not yet extended as mobile development, but it's going to be extended. For the code review, we say that we have a lot of resources in our possession. We got 3 guys, actually 3 developers, senior developers, who are actually helping us with code review. Static analysis tools, it's mostly SonarQube, Lint, and etc. It's time. Okay, thank you. It's actually 12 seconds left.
Okay. So my question would be, at which moment you apply inspection or code review? So how's it going? So
for code review, we identified in our document that it's going to be provided for the mobile application. It will be provided at the end of feature delivery because our mobile application developers are not yet available because they are kind of busy with another project and they don't really want to review some lines of code, like 100 lines of code. It's not sufficient. For the backend developer, the code review will be provided at the end of each push to the repository, to the development branch. So as our backend guys are always available. For the static analysis, it's going to be working at the end of a push, to the repository as we provide the Swift link, K-link to provide the code review, to provide the code practices, and SonarQube is going to be used at the end.
I'm sorry. So it's all will be done by SKB
No, this one is done. This one is on us actually.
And so how if you found something, how it will be tracked back to the team?
It's going to be actually looks through as a retrospective. So we're not going to be looking through the code. We're mostly going to be looking through the statistics of SonarQube. So something like links that are going to be on the project is going to be on the team because these links actually can help us at the code review to So actually, it's well shortens the time of a code review because you're gonna have some coding practices already in your project with your links. But SorenCube is just gonna provide some statistics on your code, and it's on the developer to actually fix those things. And later then, it's going to be again watched on the retrospective. We're going to look through the code, and again, it's going to be fixes.
Okay. You were mentioning about the unit tests, and you said that you will have 26
no,
tests.
it's UI tests. It's 26.
UI tests.
Yeah, UI tests for each device for 26 tests.
Where did you come up with this number? I mean, do you have scenarios?
Yeah, as I said, the idea is we have a number of screens that can be in an application. So basically, UI testing is about testing the screens.
Okay.
So each and every screen can have 2 or 3 different scenarios how we're going to work with it. So maybe this button pushed, maybe this button pushed, and some of the scenarios could be provided. So we defined that it's going to be around 26, maybe 30 tests to actually provide for the unit testing, because we have a number of screens and a number of scenarios, and we just.
So did you come up with some kind of transition system between the screens?
Yeah, of course. It's going to be done with Appium. It's tools that I said earlier, Appium and Espresso. Those tools actually provide these manipulations. So those scenarios can be linked somehow, I guess, because we have like some of the screens are actually connected, like maybe 2 of them are actually connected, and those scenarios going to be extended. But it's just well, average number, 26.
Okay. So I think we'll switch now.
Okay.
So who is going to be next? So you're going no? Oh yeah, he's able.
Third.